a Mac person, so I'm a little bit of Apple fanboy. But for me, I use iMovie. I sometimes use Final Cut, but I mostly use a program called ScreenFlow, which wasn't really meant for video editing. It was more just for screencasting, recording your screen. But I kind of found it the easiest for me for my style of videos, and it seemed to work out for me. So I say try everything if you can, and you may not need to use Final Cut. If you're just really vlogging, you may not need to go spend hundreds of dollars to get Final Cut. iMovie may be fine, something like that from Adobe. So just try to find the best for you and not cost too much.
With the new stuff from Adobe, I use the CS package, and I use Premiere, and I use Photoshop and everything else, and I love it. But they're switching over. What are your thoughts on the new cloud program they're going with, the subscription program? Do you guys know what that is? But yeah. So instead of spending like a couple $100 like every time there's a new program out, you can basically just get like a monthly subscription, and you'll get the new program every time it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, it's good and bad. I mean, basically the cloud comes down to your internet connection. So cloud is great as long as you have signal, but somewhere like in here, you may not have the best signal, then you're kind of out of luck. But I think cloud computing and just cloud for everything when it comes to gaming or video, it's going to be the future. So we kind of got to get used to it. But it's still a work in progress.
See, because I feel like yeah, exactly what you just said there. Like if you don't have internet connection, like how are you going to edit a video, right? So it's kind of like we should have learned from the whole SimCity fiasco. You know what I mean? You guys, anybody get burned by the SimCity thing? Maybe,
no.
Yeah, a couple people. But yeah, like I feel like there should be some sort of offline version that's available if you have the subscription. You know?
Yeah, I think it will always be something offline. So I think the more the consumers voice their opinion, we'll have probably both cloud and offline.
Yeah. Cool. Any other questions, guys? You have any other things that you have in your brain
my love life.
that you want to express through a microphone? No, nothing? Okay. Well, so, we got a question. I was just about to get into something really good, too.
Just joking.
So Mark, how do you get your start in building an audience? That's what my question is.
You know, it's weird. Like I just started doing the videos as a hobby back in 2007. I had no idea I'll be doing it full time. And so the biggest thing I tell people just to do it. And a lot of people ask, I mean, just get out there, make videos. My first probably 100 videos sucked. They were crappy. And I'm totally honest. And I keep them on YouTube because I tell people to go watch those and see where I started, and then skip ahead every 6 months through my videos. You can see just my progression. And I didn't know anything about editing. I didn't know really anything about cameras or microphones. And you just start, and then your audience will come along with you progressing with your videos. And just being consistent, constantly putting out content so they don't forget about you. And being on all the different social networks like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, even though you may not use them all the time, reserve your username, or Vine or something like that, reserve your username and use it sporadically so you can be where your audience is. And so I think the easiest thing almost is getting an audience, but the hardest thing is trying to keep them entertained. That's just all about being consistent.
You know, what you said there with your first 100 videos weren't any good, and then slowly you built. But what that is, I think, is credibility. Because if somebody stumbles across your channel, they're like, oh, who is this guy? Like, he's been making videos a long time. Like, he's got a lot of videos. And so it's almost like he knows what he's doing. Like, he's been doing this. Like, he obviously knows tech. He obviously knows how to make videos. Whereas if somebody, I mean, maybe this isn't true, but I do think that's, you know, maybe in situations. But like when somebody comes across something, it's like, oh, they've only got 4 videos and they just got lucky. You know what I mean? But what you've got is credibility in that market. But
thank you.
But also, like you were saying, Google Plus and Twitter and Facebook and all stuff, very valuable, especially for tech, right? I mean, Google Plus is probably like one of the biggest social networks for tech that I've found that's like not just tech specific, but there's like a big tech audience there.
Yeah, it's great for conversation, and I'll be honest, I don't use it as much, but Google Plus is really great for conversation. Chris Perillo uses it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm mostly on probably Twitter and even Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A Facebook fan page, but so whichever one you choose, I mean, just make the best out of it, but try to have a presence on each and every one.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I know Lamar, I saw you talking with Lamar earlier, he like swears by Google Plus. And he was saying that if he could get, there you go. He says if he could get off Facebook entirely, just be 100% Google Plus. And ever since that interview, I've been using Google Plus way more, just not even posting, but just like looking around, just looking and reading. But awesome stuff. So anyway, yeah, it's funny how social media just evolves, you know? But yeah, so vloggerfair, the event itself is pretty amazing. It's obviously new, but how important is it to come out to these things for you?
I think it's very important. I mean, this may be the first kind of event for you guys, some people out there. I go to a big con every year. You probably know about that big YouTube conference. I like this because it's intimate. Even though this is just the beginning, it's something personal where a lot of your favorite people that you watch are going to be around, and we're all approachable. Come ask us questions anytime. And but it's good to see events like this where people can travel and talk to your favorite person on YouTube, or just talk to somebody else, your neighbor who is starting, and just collaborate or something like that. So I think it's awesome.
It's cool what you just said. There's like, you know, just come up and talk to us. We're just people. Celebrities. What makes a celebrity is like basically just being popular, right? But I mean, a YouTube celebrity isn't kind of held in the same regard as like a television celebrity or a movie celebrity. But in the same way, like just as popular, equally as popular in some situations. And so it's funny that like I feel like YouTubers kind of keep more of that down to earth personality, kind of like that approachable, you know, personality. Because I mean, if there was a whole bunch of celebrities here, there'd be people excited to see them and want to meet them, but sometimes you'd be like, oh, I don't know, like, should I go, like, interrupt them? They're doing their thing, like, I'm kind of, I don't know, you know what I mean? Because, like, I guess it's, maybe it's just the tabloids, but they're always, like, you know, don't want their picture taken, they just want to be left alone and stuff. But YouTubers is like, hey, yeah, I make videos for you guys, come say hi. So it's really cool.
I believe it. I mean, most of us make our videos from our homes, so, I mean, you're in our lives. Like, I'm sitting there in front of my camera, no pants on, just a shirt, doing my videos. And even still following us on social networks like Instagram and stuff. I mean, most people know what I'm doing before I even know it. But yeah, it's really personal, and yeah, just talk to everybody.
That's the thing, right? Johnny Carson said, I think it was on Johnny Carson's like last show that he did on the Tonight Show back in the day, when he's probably too young to know. But anyway, he said something about like, you know, thank you for letting me into your homes and you know, every night. But you actually let people into your home. And they let you into theirs. It's like it's a back and forth thing. Because like you're making videos at your house, and they're kind of like, you know, coming into your space, and you're going into their space. It's more, I don't know, community, I guess.
It's more inviting. I mean, I got a new dog, and everybody was asking about the dog, talking about the dog. I mean, it's really a lot more personal on that. That's the big thing on YouTube. It's a lot personal, and you can really get to know everybody.
You know, it's funny though. I've been working on the I'm Vlogging Here documentary with Shaky and Apprentice A. And it's cool because we've been going to people's houses and interviewing them. And when we go somewhere, like for example, when we went and interviewed Hank, we're like, oh my goodness, this is where Hank makes his videos. Like it's so cool to be there in person, you know what I mean? Or even like Shay Carl's house, when we go to Shay's place, it's like, oh hey, okay, yeah. It's like if you could go to the Simpsons house, you know what I mean? You'd be like, I know this house. Because I've seen the Simpsons for 20 years, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of funny like that. But yeah. So what's been one of the most amazing things that YouTube has done for you?
A job. That's my first thing. Basically a job. I mean, I'm able to work from home, and it's basically my own personal business. And again, I just started out as a hobby, and you know, I think one thing that some people do now is the word is out on YouTube. You can make money and stuff like that. But really, your first passion for it should be something you like to talk about. I love tech. Started doing it as a hobby, and I was able to turn it into my job, but I still remember why I started doing it, and you always got to remember your audience and your core audience especially.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, when you first started on YouTube, you said that like, you know, your videos weren't great, you did like 100 videos that you didn't like, but how has YouTube changed since then? Not just like your videos and your content, but like just like YouTube as a whole.
How's YouTube changed?
Yes, yeah. How's YouTube changed?
Where I mean, I guess business-wise, it's probably changed the most. It's changing for the better in some ways, changing for the worse in little ways, but for the most part, YouTube is growing as a big community. The word is getting out. Companies and people are now starting to notice and see that we're not just people doing something to mess around in the camera. We actually have a voice about whether it's tech, makeup, you know, beauty, or gaming, or whatever you want to talk about. And we're able to connect with the audience in more ways that traditional media can. So that's where I see YouTube's kind of going, but hopefully they can still keep it kind of more personal instead of going too big business.
Yeah, yeah.